There was a perfect world. God made everything in 6 days. On day 6, he made the first man and woman, Adam and Eve, of whom were all descendants. The first man, Adam, it was given a test of obedience. You can eat of all the trees, just one you're not to eat of, because if you do, you'll surely die. Adam ate that fruit, the act of rebellion. That's the origin of sin. That's why we're called sinners. And because we're descendants of Adam and Eve, we are all sinners. And then God said, because of sin, the wages of sin is death. So now you will die. Our bodies will die. Everyone in this room one day will die. And I've got news for you. Some are closer than others, right? That's true, isn't it? I mean, the older we get, we are closer than others. Although it can happen to anyone at any time. We also know that as well. And you know, when you look at that, a lot of people say, why would God judge us with death? You know, in Adam, we rebelled against a holy God. We could have committed high treason against the holy God. We don't even deserve to exist. But God, in his love and mercy, doesn't want us to exist as sinners for eternity. He wants us to spend eternity with him. He placed upon us the judgment of death so our bodies die, so he could come and pay the penalty for our sin. Wow. Because back there in the Garden of Eden, he promised in Genesis 3 that one would come who would be wounded by the serpent, the devil, wounded on the cross, a fatal wound, but he would crush the head of the serpent. He would be raised from the dead. Do you know the prophecy of the death and resurrection of Jesus is back there in Genesis 3:15, 4,000 years before it happened? Isn't that amazing? And then we read more prophecies in the Old Testament concerning the prophets talking about Jesus. And then God killed animals and clothed Adam and Eve. The first blood sacrifices are covering for their sin, because without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. The life of the flesh is in the blood, the Bible says. So, therefore, because death was a penalty for sin, there has to be the giving of life to pay the penalty for sin. God killed animals and clothed Adam and Eve, but that couldn't take away their sin. And by the way, that's the origin of clothing. Think again, why do humans wear clothes? Why do we? If we're just animals evolved from other animals, why do we wear clothes? We wear clothes because we are moral creatures. We have a conscience, and the law is written on our hearts, and we know fundamentally that we are sinners. We've got a problem, and God killed animals and clothed us, because sin distorts everything. Sin distorts nakedness, but it was also the first sacrifice of the sacrificial system, pointing to the fact that one day Jesus would die on a cross. Because animals were sacrificed over and over again, but no animal can take away our sin, because we're not an animal. We didn't evolve. We're made in the image of God. That's what the Bible says. Man was made from dust, woman from his side. We're not animals.